There's just something about picking a nice patch of potatoes that makes you feel like a real farmer. Now I feel like a real farmer. Let's go. Today we're talking...
Hold on. Go ahead.
Alright folks, today we are talking spuds, and we had a great patch of them this year. Just finishing harvesting up, but in this video we're going to take you back and take you through the whole harvest. So we planted these in the spring. We're actually thinking of getting, you know, a named variety, a nice seed potato supplier, but they were all sold out at the time, so we just planted ones from the store that had sprouted, and yeah, here we are, about what, 4 months later. We've been eating them pretty much every day for breakfast. Already digging a few out, so let's see what we got. One plant out of the soil, and I mean, they are just, look at all these. Green one, we can save that for planting. I mean, I couldn't believe how numerous they were. This is our first year growing potatoes. Just threw some kind of no-name little grocery store potatoes in the ground in a spot that we hadn't really prepared as much as we wanted, but thought, hey, let's go for it. And these things, I mean, look at this. This is just one plant. I'm still finding them. It's funny, a couple of our best performing crops this year, potatoes being one of them, melons being the other, we didn't even really intend to have a great crop of either of them. It was beds we had just formed, just made, and we're thinking, let's just throw something. Look at this. This is insane. But we thought, just throw something in there, almost as like a cover crop, and if we get anything, we get anything. And lo and behold, potatoes and watermelons and cantaloupes have been some of our most vigorous plantings this year. I think I have them all, but that's just one plant there, folks. We got 24 more to go. That's a lot of spuds in the cellar this winter. There's a great quote. Actually, I think it was a Four Seasons Farms cookbook. It's a book by a couple of farmers up in Maine, like Elliot Coleman, Barbara Damrosch, and they say nothing gives you a sense of food security like a stash of spuds in the cellar. And now that we've been digging these out, I can totally relate with that. I mean, this is, like I've said about a few things on this property, like the black walnuts, this is true survival food right here. You know, a lot of old families in Norway, Sweden, Scotland, Ireland, they can get by just on potatoes, milk, and kale. And provide just about everything they need in the diet. What do we have? 2, 4, 6, 8, 24 delicious, nice-sized gold potatoes from one plant. So 24 potatoes, one plant, and now we have 24 plants.
How many pounds that is, you reckon?
I reckon, ooh, shoot. I reckon you probably got yourself about a 5-pound bag of spuds there, folks. 5 pounds, one plant. The cool thing is, you know, one plant, just found one more little one hiding in the mulch. You know, as they're growing, we've been covering it with more compost and mulch just to, if they form more that way and they don't get exposed to the sun. Like, you don't want to keep the green potatoes like that. It actually produces that solanum, I think is how you say it. That's it's toxic. So don't eat that, folks. They also form a little berry. I've been picking them off. They call it the tomato berry. It looks a lot like a cherry tomato. And again, don't eat those, folks. But yeah, I am stoked about this. Cool thing too, you know, one plant, I mean, you could just plant like one whole potato. You could even save a few of these that we don't eat and plant that entire potato. That'll form a nice robust plant, but once it starts sprouting, if this sprouts on both ends, you can even cut this in half or thirds and then out of this one potato, instead of one plant, then you have 3 plants or 4 plants, however many you decide to cut it up. It's pretty cool. So for planting next year, we're all set for eating this year and for planting next year. So pretty cool. Take a look at this. We've been really excited about this bed, and it's proven its worth already with all these potatoes. But this is a really rich, kind of like the bottomland area of our property. It just stays moist all year long. It has a lot of natural organic matter. Things grow like crazy down here. And then we've added to that so much compost and just different organic matter sources. And the way I got like the sod and the native vegetation out of here, we've been doing a few methods. We're doing like the cardboard sheet mulch method, which works great. We did that with our melon beds, and we're going to be doing that more. But on this patch, I just had a succession of fires. A lot of nice big bonfires, and it burnt down all the grasses and weeds, and even all the roots, killed those down, so those just rotted in the soil, and then the ashes were left on top. And I mean, look at this. This is just, that's real treasure right there. Are you kidding me? And through our digging for potatoes, we've mingled all this straw mulch. Take straw bales, brown beetle. You probably can't see it on camera, but there are just thousands and thousands of legs moving around here. There's beetles and pill bugs and ants, worms. Some of the earthworms are massive, so this bed is in really nice condition. And with this chopped up straw that I was using as mulch, that'll keep rotting down, and this is going to be a fertile bed for many, many years to come without us even really adding anything else. It's got a good base right here. So yeah, a couple things to look out for. There's the Colorado potato beetle, which we didn't really have a problem with, but a lot of people do. Not just with potatoes, but eggplants, tomatoes, if you take away the preferred potato host. The scab, which again we didn't really have any problems with. I guess that's worse in your drier years, which it's been a very wet, rainy year, so no scab. Yeah, we had snails munching the leaves, but that's about it. They're pretty carefree. Rabbits don't touch them, deer don't touch them, which is awesome. So they're one of those, you can put, if you have a deer prone spot of the property, which for us is like everywhere. Like a nice little dirt makeup. Another reason too that we dug these a little bit early too. They say to like wait until all of the foliage just dies back, it turns yellow and kind of wilts and dies. That's the plant going dormant. So the tubers, the potatoes, are taking all of that in for their storage. So ideally we would have waited, I don't know, maybe another couple weeks, but it was a rainy year, so they actually didn't go dormant as early as they usually would. But we picked them early anyway, just because we have a lot of voles and mice around here. There's a lot of rodent activity, which they don't go for the tubers this early in the year, but when they're preparing for winter, they can really do a number, especially voles. They can hurt your potato crop. So we've seen a bunch around, so let's just get them out of the ground. But they've gotten to them just a bit. There's a nibble, not too much. So what we'll do, we'll just cut around that and eat it tonight. These guys are everywhere. This is such a rich bed. Oh my God, I can't wait to put something else here. It's sharing the spot. Actually, you can see how well the kale growing there, which usually would get decimated by rabbits. But this year we actually planted that, or interplanted it with onion. We kind of made an onion barrier around and in amongst the kale. They grew great together. The onions grew right up through the spaces in the kale, got plenty of sun. We've been eating onions every dinner and lunch. Have a bunch stored, have still some in the ground. And it kind of kept the rabbits away because they don't really like onions or leeks either. We have leeks over there. So they're growing great. This kale, it's now above rabbit browsing height. So it's growing great too, even without the onions there. Well, I'd say this has been a great first year growing potatoes. I think I'm sold on planting them just about every year. I've had a great time, even just watching them grow. They're a beautiful, lush plant, and then you have food for the months ahead, which is awesome. You know, I'd reckon we probably, let's do a little farm squat here, spud squats. It's probably about 50, 60 pounds of potatoes right there. Maybe even more. I mean, yeah, I'm thinking, oh, I probably have to elaborate too much on that. So, yeah, we have a lot of eating and future growing ahead of us with all these. So, with that, well, all right, guys, thanks for joining us. I hope we've convinced any of you guys to plant your own potato patch that it goes just as great as it did for us. Enjoy all your planting. Signing off, Folk Rock Farm. Thanks for joining us, everybody.